Welcome, everyone. My name is Arun Malik. I'm a professor in the economics department here at GW and one of the two co-directors of the master's program in applied economics. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the program. Let me first tell you what the advantages of being in Washington, D.C. The campus is located literally in the heart of Washington, D.C. We're a few blocks from the World Bank, the IMF, the White House, a host of consulting firms and nonprofits. GW, that's the acronym for George Washington University, offers dozens of graduate programs. There are professional schools that span the spectrum. And as a student in our applied economics program, you have the opportunity to take courses in other schools. We have an internationally recognized faculty and academic programs and a number of research initiatives. And I'll tell you about one in particular with the World Bank later in this presentation. So why study applied economics at GW? So the first thing I want to point out is because this is a Master's of Science degree, it's a so-called STEM designated program. This matters for international students. It means that after completing the program, you can work for up to 3 years in the US, getting practical training, as it's called, in your discipline. Most of the professors who teach our core courses are practicing economists with real-world experience and with connections in the real world to jobs. And I want to emphasize that our students, even students who did their undergraduate work at GW and then went on to join our master's program, find that it's really beneficial to be taught by people who are practicing economists, given that our program is one to prepare you as an applied economist. The program is relatively small in size, about 60 students in total. This means you get personalized attention, one-on-one meetings with the directors of the program. It's not a large impersonal program. We also offer, along with the MS degree, dual enrollment in graduate certificate programs. So you can pick up a graduate certificate in a related field. The most popular ones are data science, another is environmental and resource policy. But there really is a large number of these certificate programs, and I'll tell you more about those later in the presentation. We offer free workshops in communications and in coding. The department provides some funding for students to work as research assistants or graders with faculty in the department. We have a strong record of job placements in consulting, applied research in the private sector, with international organizations such as the IMF, the World Bank, and the Federal Reserve Banks, as well as with US and foreign government agencies. Our alumni network is active and very engaged. And as I mentioned, we have this in-person program of collaboration with the World Bank that I'll go into more detail about near the end of this presentation. So here's an outline of the talk. The picture you see in front of you is the view at the when you walk out of the economics department building to what's called Coven Plaza. So first, the broad set of requirements for the program. It's a 30 credit program made up of 10 courses, so each course is 3 credits. There are 6 core courses and 4 elective courses. Most of our classes meet for 2.5 hours in the evenings, and this makes it easier for part-time students to be enrolled in our program, the fact that we have classes in the evenings that meet once a week. The core courses, the 6 core courses, are offered every semester. That means students can start the program either in the spring or in the fall. You can even get a head start by taking a course or 2 over the summer before the first semester of your formal enrollment. Full-time students generally complete the program in 3 semesters plus 1 summer session. How does that work out? You take 3 courses per semester, so 3 times 3 is 9 courses, and then you have 1 course left over. You could take that over the summer, or you could take that in a subsequent semester. Domestic students have the opportunity of studying full-time or part-time. I think it's fair to say that a large share of our domestic students are part-time. International students have to be full-time. That's just the visa requirement that the US government imposes. And many students, and this is true for both domestic and international students, work while studying for their degree. International students, in general, have to work on campus, and I'll say a bit more about that later on. And as I mentioned, we have this dual enrollment in graduate certificates, and quite a few students take advantage of that. So here's a list of the 6 core courses. And something I want to emphasize is that in all of these courses, there's hands-on work where you're working with data sets and learning how to work with data sets and how to use statistical packages and programming languages such as R to work and analyze these data sets. And this is a fairly comprehensive set of core courses with a heavy emphasis on developing your empirical analytical skills. When it comes to electives, the program itself, so this is the MS program itself, routinely offers a variety of electives. You can see them here. The most popular one this semester is Machine Learning for Economics, as well as the Transportation and Supply Chain Economics course. I might mention that the Transportation and Supply Chain Economics course is being taught by the former chief economist at the US Department of Transportation, so somebody who is well-versed in the real world and application of economics in the real world. There are also elective courses that you can take that are offered outside the MS program, but within the economics department. And those are listed here. The economic development courses tend to be popular, as well as the trade theory and finance courses. Beyond that, as I mentioned earlier, you can take courses outside the department in related fields. So remember, there are 6 core courses and 4 electives. Of those 4 electives, 2 can be in related fields. They don't have to be economics courses. And the most popular tend to be, again, courses that help you build your analytical toolkit, so Introduction to Data Science, data visualization, but there are a host of others. You might be interested in geographic information systems. You might be interested in policy making or policy analysis. We have a School of Public Policy and Public Administration that's very highly regarded. You can take courses in that school. You might be interested in finance, in investment. You can take courses in our business school. So there are literally hundreds of other courses that are available to you. Only a small set are listed on this slide. So now let me turn to admissions information. The picture you see is another picture of Kogan Plaza outside the Economics Department building. The seated statue there is of a revolutionary. It's very common for visitors to campus to sit next to that metal statue and have their picture taken. So what are the minimum requirements for admission? So a B grade in introductory level macroeconomics and microeconomics courses. So these are the very first level micro and macro courses. We also require a B- grade in college level calculus. We make use of calculus in all of our core courses, so you need to have preparation in calculus before entering the program. If you've taken, say, 2 of these courses, but not the 3rd, what we recommend you do is to take that 3rd course that you're missing before you enroll in the program, and you could take it at a local college, or you could even take it online, but it has to be a course for which you'll get a letter grade and for which a transcript can be provided. Taking the course through Coursera, for instance, wouldn't work because they don't give a letter grade. They don't provide a formal transcript. You need to have a minimum 3.0 cumulative GPA from your undergraduate institution, and this is a 3.0 out of 4. I know it varies across the world what the maximum GPA is, but here in the US, 4.0 is the maximum. So you need a minimum of 3.0 out of 4. A personal statement, or sometimes it's called a statement of purpose, is also part of your application. And my advice here is to focus on you and your interests. It's not as productive to talk about GW and what GW has to offer. We want to learn more about you and what your background is and what your aspirations are. We also ask for 2 letters of recommendation. One could be from an employer. It might be difficult for you if you've been out of school for a while to go back to a professor to get 2 letters from a professor. In some cases, you might not be able to get even a single letter from a professor. In that case, 2 letters from an employer would be okay. We don't require GRE scores. You don't need to submit them. And I want to emphasize that we really look at the full application. So for instance, you might say to yourself, well, I didn't get a B grade in my introductory microeconomics course, but you might have taken another microeconomics course after that, and you might have gotten a B grade in that. Well, we will look at that, and we will take that into account. So we really do look at the whole application. We look at your whole transcript. We look at your personal statement. We look at your resume to see what sort of background and experience you have. If you don't meet the prerequisites, best to email the program director to explain your situation, and the relevant email address is on the last slide. And you can start the program in either the fall or the spring semester. If you want to start it in the fall semester, February 1st is the deadline if you wish to be considered for financial assistance. April 1st is the general application deadline. Let me say that even if you miss the February 1st deadline, but you submit your application by the April 1st deadline, there is a possibility of being considered for financial assistance. It really depends on what our funding situation looks like at that point. If you want to start the program in the spring semester, the application deadline is October 1st. And as it says at the bottom of the slide, we are flexible with our admissions deadlines. It's not as if you miss the deadline, we will ignore your application. It really does depend on circumstances. What is true for international students is that it takes time to go through the whole visa application process, interview process at the US consulate. And for that reason, if you're an international student, it's important to try to make these deadlines so that you have enough time to go through the visa process and you're able to obtain a visa in time to start the program. Let me now talk about financial support. This is another picture from campus. That's a bust of George Washington, and with cherry blossoms in the background. And there are quite a few cherry blossom trees around campus. And some have already started blooming, which is a bit on the early side. So how do you make yourself be considered for a financial award? On the application, there's a box you check. And one thing that I want to point out is we often get inquiries from students. Do you offer fellowships or assistantships that will cover all tuition, or perhaps even cover tuition and some living expenses? And we don't offer those. Those are reserved for PhD students. So we don't have fellowships or assistantships that will cover all tuition, or all tuition plus living expenses. I will describe what we can offer a bit later in this presentation. The letter of admission that you obtain will indicate whether you received a financial award. I can say that most students receive some financial assistance. But again, I want to emphasize that the awards that we're able to offer will not cover full tuition, or they won't cover all your living expenses. And if after the presentation you still have questions about the sorts of financial assistance that we can offer, the best email address to contact is the askccas@gw.edu email address. And this is the general email address for applicants. And in my experience, I've sent them emails asking for clarification. I found them to be very responsive and to provide very detailed information. So this is one type of award that Columbian College offers. You might be wondering, what's Columbian College? So GW has many schools within it, and Columbian College of Arts and Sciences is one of those schools. And we're housed, the economics department is housed within the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences. So the Columbian College offers the Global Leaders Awards, and these are available to students from the countries listed on the slide. And students who are from these countries can request an application fee waiver. And the Global Leaders Awards is a renewable tuition award of up to $10,000 per academic year. In total, the award, the Global Leaders Award, it's between 17,000 and about 20,000 in total over the course of the program. These awards are competitive. It's not as if you automatically obtain this award if you're from one of these countries. You also need to meet the qualifications. The obvious qualification is that you need to be a citizen of one of these countries, but you also need to be studying in the program while on an F1 visa. We also have the Minority Serving Institutions Award. And this is for students who attended a minority serving institution in the US for their undergraduate degree. And there's a long list of these institutions. You can find the full list at the URL at the bottom of this slide. In the DC area, the local universities such as Howard, Morgan State, and the University of District of Columbia are eligible MSIs. And the Global Leaders Award is roughly of the same magnitude as this MSI award is roughly of the same magnitude as the Global Leaders Award. So these are awards offered by Columbian College. The Dean's Office of Columbian College also offers a Dean's Award. And this is typically designated for students who aren't eligible for the Global Leaders Award or for the MSI Awards. The other thing to point out is that in addition to awards that might be mentioned in your admissions letter, graduate students can work on campus through jobs found through GW Student Employment Services. And on-campus jobs are open to both international students and to domestic students. And if I look at what our students have done in the past, they've worked as statistical consultants for the Academic Commons. The Academic Commons is a resource that both undergraduates and graduate students can make use of to get help in their coursework. Students have served as tutors for undergraduate students, and this is usually found privately through word of mouth. You can also work as a research or teaching assistant at a variety of GW departments and schools. We've had students work as teaching assistants in the School of Business and in the School of Public Policy. The teaching assistant positions are the most generous in terms of compensation. And so there, the amount you would get to serve as a teaching assistant for a course for a semester is about $5,000. So $5,000 is the highest amount that I've heard students in our program report for their on-campus earnings in a semester. One thing I want to point out is that students find these positions after they enroll in the MS program. So this is not, these sorts of positions aren't ones that you can line up before you join the program. We often get emails asking, can I be your teaching assistant or research assistant? But as I say at the bottom of the slide, these positions are found after joining the MS program. Within the econ department, about 20 students in the program, and as I mentioned earlier, we have 60 students in total. So about 20 students work as research assistants for professors in the economics department or help professors in the department with grading in undergraduate courses. I think it's fair for me to say that a large majority of the students who are looking for these positions obtain them. How much do they pay? It depends across positions, but they pay between $1,000 and at most $2,000 dollars per semester. There's also the possibility that a student obtains an unpaid internship. And in that case, we do have some funds that we can provide to compensate you while you're doing these internships. Obviously, there are internships that are paid. So, for example, this semester, there are 3 students interning at the International Monetary Fund. It's a paid internship. 2 of those 3 students are international students, and they're able to take this internship position, even though it's off campus at the International Monetary Fund, because they've been in the program for 2 consecutive semesters. And in that case, you're eligible to obtain practical training off campus. Again, I want to emphasize that the funding we're talking about here isn't sufficient to cover tuition and fees. And again, these positions are offered after students have joined the program. All right, let me tell you a bit about our faculty and graduate student teaching assistants. So this is another view of Kogan Plaza from one of the main streets running through the heart of campus. The campus is located in downtown DC, so there is a lot of buzz when you're walking around the campus, not just from students, faculty, and staff, but also others who work in the area. So this is a picture of some of our faculty and some of our PhD students who assist with the program. So we, in addition to our to the faculty, we have PhD students who assist with the program, and I'll tell you about their role in a moment. But again, what this slide points out is that we have a lot of practicing economists that teach in the program and bring their expertise as applied economists into the classroom. And as I mentioned, students find this really valuable to be able to learn from practicing economists and not just ivory tower economists like me. And there's a list of employers at the bottom. This is by no means a complete list, but you know, these are individuals who are working as applied economists in the private sector, investment banks, at consulting firms, and federal government agencies, at nonprofits. DC is the hub for applied economists. I suspect DC has the largest concentration of economists of any city in the world, in part because we have organizations like the U.S. Treasury, the IMF, and the World Bank, all located within blocks of campus. So, as I mentioned, we have a team of PhD students who assist with the program. They run weekly so-called discussion sections to help you work on problem sets and prepare for exams. They also have office hours, so you can call on them for help with coursework. They also offer programming workshops to help you learn R or Stata. And in the picture, the person you see in the middle is Joanne Weiner, who is the director of the program. She's on sabbatical this year, but is back in the fall of this year. And she's flanked by the 4 PhD students who serve as our graduate teaching assistants. So now let me tell you about additional initiatives. I'm keeping an eye on the time here, and I think I'm doing okay. So this is a picture of the World Bank headquarters. This is 3 blocks from campus. And we have students who have worked there. We have students who have interned there. And Let me first tell you about the dual enrollment in a graduate certificate. So the graduate certificate is an additional credential beyond the MS that you would obtain upon completing our program. So you obtain, if you undertake dual enrollment, you'd obtain the MS in Applied Economics, but you'd also get this other credential, which is a graduate certificate. And we offer graduate certificates in a variety of fields. The most popular ones are data science and environmental resource policy. So how does this work? Graduate certificates require 12 course credits. So if each course is 3 credits, that's 4 courses. The Applied Economics program, as I mentioned, requires 30 course credits or 10 courses. But with this dual enrollment option, you can double count 6 credits. So 6 credits is 2 courses. So you can have 2 courses that count towards your MS degree and at the same time count towards your graduate certificate. So that means that to complete the graduate certificate, you only need to take 2 additional courses, 2 extra courses. So the combined total number of credits you would need to get the MS degree and the graduate certificate is 36 credits instead of 42 credits. And that saves you quite a bit of money. You don't have to apply. There's no separate application for enrolling in the certificate program. You simply submit your request for dual enrollment after your first semester in the program. And at that point, you and the program directors will draw up a set of courses that you'll take to satisfy the requirements both for our MS degree and the graduate certificate. So this is the new program we have with the World Bank. This is the first semester that we're running it, and we have 8 students from our program who are participating in it this semester. And what this program entails is basically the opportunity to work with World Bank economists on their research projects, helping with data analysis, helping with economic analysis, and in preparing reports. And GW is the only school in the DC area that has this partnership with the World Bank's Data Lab, and it's actually one of only a handful in the world. And if you're in this Data Fellows program, it's equivalent to taking 1 course. So you get academic credit for it, and at the same time, you get hands-on experience applying your knowledge of economics and statistical analysis, or I could say econometric analysis. And this is something that students typically will apply for in their final semester. So the bank is looking for students who have developed their skills. It is competitive. I don't know how many students applied. I know 8 students are involved in it, but it is a competitive program. But it's a wonderful opportunity to get hands-on experience working with economists at the World Bank. I mentioned at the start that we offer free workshops. So we have a free oral and written communications workshop. This is optional, but we highly recommend it. It's a workshop that meets the requirements for a credential that's provided by the National Association of Business Economists called the Certified Business Economist Credential. And some of our students have acquired this credential. And one of the requirements is to take the oral and written communications workshop. GW also is a pathway program with MIT's MITx MicroMasters program. And what this means is that if you're in MIT's Data Economics and Design of Policy MicroMasters program, if you take the right combination of electives in that MicroMasters program, 2 of those electives can count towards your GW MS degree. And that's why it says there's a saving of up to 20% of tuition costs. But that's because the program has a 10-course requirement. 2 courses from the MicroMasters program can count towards your MS degree here. Now let me come to the all-important careers in applied economics, and that's why most of you are interested in acquiring this degree. And each year we hold multiple career workshops, and in some cases they're led by human resource professionals, in other cases by practicing economists, and in other cases by alumni of the program. We just had an alumni career panel on Monday of this week where program alumni came in and shared their experiences and their wisdom on how to find a job, the sorts of job opportunities that are out there. The Career Services Office at GW provides a range of professional help and everything from writing your resume and cover letter to conducting mock interviews to helping you figure out how to build your network. We even have a photo booth where you can get a nice headshot that you can use on your LinkedIn page. GW, like many institutions, uses the Handshake platform for job listings. And the Applied Economics program has a LinkedIn network that's active and that helps you connect with program alumni to get advice and to identify job openings. So what do our students do after graduating? So they have an impressive array of careers, and everything from consulting to doing policy analysis for think tanks to working at governmental organizations and NGOs, non-governmental organizations. And you see a list of employers of our graduates. So you've got the international organizations, the IMF, the World Bank. We have students at the Federal Reserve, at consulting firms such as Compass Lexicon, Econ One, Coherent Economics, Edgeworth Economics, at research or think tanks like the Brookings Institution. There's really a wide variety of organizations at which our alumni work. Some of our alumni chose after completing the program to go on to graduate school. Further graduate school, I should say. So one decided to go into law. Others will decide to go on to get PhDs, in some cases in economics or business economics, in other cases in public policy. And some of our alumni stay in the DC area. Some, if they're international students, return to their home countries, and others head off to all parts of the world. So here's a picture of a small gathering of students. This is obviously not all the students in the program. This was an informal lunch that we held just outside the economics department building. And let me tell you now about our students. We enroll about 30 students each year. And as I mentioned earlier, there are currently about 60 students in the program. Many of our students come with work experience, but we also have many who come to the program immediately after completing their undergraduate degree. So it's not as if they've worked for a few years after completing their undergraduate degree. Most students have studied economics or business. In some cases, it might be agricultural economics, but many have studied something else. So we have students who've studied politics or engineering or journalism. And our students really come from across the globe. It really is an impressive list of countries from which we have drawn students. It really does span the globe. And I think that is all I have to say. So listed on this slide is my name, Aaron Malik, and also Michael Moores is the co-director of the program. And you can reach us through the first email address that's on the slide, appliedecondgs@gw.edu. For general admissions information or information about financial assistance, the best email address is the second one, askccas@gw.edu. So I will stop here, and I look forward to answering your questions.